here tonight. We are going to have to move quickly because Chi is at the airport. You know, movers, shakers, on the move. And so we're going to be processing a bachelor tonight. And in the interim, I got to get the text out to the text notification squad. So when you come in, say hello, and then just drop your comment, like the video, and make sure that you share because we are working on getting this eligible bachelor matched. So give me just 1 second while I jump behind the scenes in YouTube to grab the link, and then we're going to send it out to the text notification squad. Then we're going to get live on every platform. And then from there, we're going to bring our guest on, and we are going to have the third episode of the Love TKO show. So welcome, 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 welcome in, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So for those of you who don't know, this is Matchmaker Monday. All right. Look at that. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, so give me just 1 second. Hey, Stefan. Hey, According. Hey, welcome in, everybody. I'm just grabbing the link so I could get it out to the text notification squad. Then we're going to go live on every platform, and then we're going to get the party started. I'm excited. Welcome in, Marius. I see you came back for some more. I guess you didn't have enough from the last time. All right, give me just 1 second. I am I'm updating the thumbnail, and then we are going to, give me just 1 second there. All right, thumbnail is updated. Let me grab the link, save this, get over to the text, put the link in, and then send. And we are, all right, text just went out. Let's go ahead and get the text sent to the people who are getting the free notifications on Telegram. And then after that, we're going to go live on every platform. And then we are going to get this party started. All right. First text is out on Telegram. Second text is out on Telegram. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Welcome, 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 welcome. We are live on Twitch. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. And of course, you know, we are live on YouTube, which is the main platform. Welcome. I am your host, Tonya TKO from the Tonya TKO show. And tonight is Matchmaker Monday, where we have our eligible bachelor and our matchmaker on the scene. And so if you don't know, what we do is we bring up an eligible bachelor who is marriage-minded. This is episode 3, so we're just getting started. So I need your help. I need you to look within your phone book, think about the good men that you know that are single, and send them our way so that we can be able to keep this going, because the only way that we stay strong is if we create families, honestly. Wow. I see we got we got an eager woman calling in. We ain't even announced the bachelor yet. My goodness. Well, without further ado, I see that you all are ready. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring forward the matchmaker and the bachelor. Welcome in, Sheila. This person, wow, the aggression. Okay, go ahead. Introduce yourself, Chi. Chi is at the airport right now, so go ahead. Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh my goodness, I don't understand. The people, listen. This woman is very eager. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to All right, there. I've just had to delete the whole app. My goodness. All right, listen, listen. All right. Goodness. Oh, they're calling you beautiful and handsome. Oh, they're saying they can't hear you. You know what? Because I took your audios off from the. Oh my goodness. So you're gonna have to do that all over again. Oh my goodness, Chi. I'm sorry. But you know what? Listen, hey, Go ahead. Because you know what? Because she was trying to fix the audio behind the scenes. So I took her audio off from the broadcast so that I could go live. So they're saying they didn't hear you, Chi. So here, go, go, go again, my dear. Go
Okay.
again.
All right, all right. Hello, everyone. This is Chi Love, a certified matchmaker and dating specialist. Please excuse the background noise. I am at the airport. Really glad to be here. For more information, you can go to my website, nyaloveanddating.com. Must be marriage minded and looking for something real. You can find me on all platforms, NYA Love by Chi. Thank you. Really
All right,
excited.
wonderful, wonderful. Well, you know what? We're going to have to start the processing very quickly because she is at the airport. You know, she's a mover and a shaker, high in demand. So, Chi, the floor is yours. Go ahead and
All
start.
right. So let's get into it. Okay, so let people know what your name is.
My name is David.
Hello, David. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. All right, so how old are you?
42.
42. All right, and you are interested in dating women, correct?
That's correct.
Awesome. And give me the age range from the youngest up until the oldest that she could be.
Youngest, probably say 38. Oldest,
38,
45.
45. All right. Okay, so 38 to 45, correct?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any kids?
I do not.
All right. Are you open to dating women that have kids?
Yes.
If she does have kids, how many can she have?
I would say like two. Two would probably be about the max, right?
Okay.
Anything above that would be a little challenging.
Okay. So two max. All right. Do you want kids?
I do.
You do. Okay. Is it a deal breaker if she does not want kids?
It's not.
Okay.
So, do you really want kids if it's
All
not
right.
a
And
deal
just so,
breaker? If she doesn't want children and you want children, you're still willing to marry her and never have children.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what not being
I
a
get
deal breaker
some.
means, Tonya.
Listen.
All right. Pets. Do you have any pets?
I do not have any pets.
Okay. Would you date a woman that had pets?
As long as it's not cats, because I'm allergic.
Okay. So dogs only.
Yeah.
Okay. No cats, allergic. All right. Good to know. Does it care? Do you care how many dogs she has?
Yes. I'm
Like,
trying
what's the
to
max?
find the equivalent of the cat lady here. I I don't know, probably two. I actually haven't really thought about it. I've
Okay.
met a person with more than one pet, but yeah, I would probably say two.
Okay. So ideally, from what I'm hearing, ideally someone who doesn't have pets because you don't, right? But if she does, you prefer dogs over cats because you're allergic
Right.
and no more than one or two.
Yeah.
All right. What is the highest level of education that you've attained?
That I've obtained?
Yes.
Bachelor's.
Bachelor's. All right. Does that matter to you about her education in terms of degree?
It, it doesn't. I mean, education is important, but I don't necessarily pay attention to like she doesn't have the master's or doctorate, but I am looking for somebody that's
Okay.
intelligent. But educated to me can be different.
So you don't really have a preference. Just
I
want someone
don't.
educated.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. And I just want to make sure that you're okay with us being at the airport because I know that someone had mentioned earlier that are you comfortable? You are in my AirPods. So I want to make sure you're good. Just
Yeah, I
checking
live
in
at
with
the
you.
airport. It's like my second home.
Okay, you get it then. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for being so open, by the way. All right. So how do you identify in terms of religion and how would you want her to identify?
Christian. That's how I was raised. I'm honestly, I'm open on that end. I don't. The person I marry doesn't necessarily have to be Christian. It just
Okay.
has to be like there's not a you can't not be. I mean, don't worship the devil, please. I appreciate that. But other than that, like, you know, it's a conversation. I think one of the things that, and we'll probably get to it, like I'm very much open-minded. Like I want to talk and have these conversations with this person. So
Okay.
it's not like hard, like, oh my God, you're not a Christian, I can't talk to you. No.
Okay, so she's spiritual. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
What about agnostic or atheist?
Ooh, that was gonna be hard. So that one will probably be a no, just because of the that'd be a very interesting conversation with my mom.
All right.
Well, you know,
Understandable. I like that you're thinking
agnostic
about your
means that
mama.
they don't
That's nice.
have a denomination, correct? That's what
I didn't hear
agnostic is, right? Agnostic is that they just don't have a denomination, but they do believe in a higher power.
Yeah, some type of higher being. People have different ways of describing what agnostic is, but they don't really have a set belief. It's kind of, I know they believe in something in themselves, but there's like a question mark there when it comes to people who are agnostic. It's just like,
the way a buddy explained it to me is like atheists don't believe in God, agnostic just don't care. And that's the way I've kind of heard it explained. So
I mean, that's one way to perceive it for sure. Okay, so we're just gonna put none at this time. That's what it's sounding like, unless you want me to correct you.
no,
Or,
that's fine. It's good.
can you hear me still?
He said
Yes.
that's good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. What are your deal breakers? And as in, oh, go ahead, Tonya.
No.
No,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said something. Okay. So, what are your deal breakers? And by deal breakers, I mean, doesn't matter how great of a fit this person could be for you to know. The most common thing I hear is cigarette smoking, but I'd like to hear from you.
okay. Last part broke up again, but for the most part, like what are the deal breakers? The big ones for me is honestly finances. Like you kind of have to be an adult and have your finances together and be able to manage finances, handle that, those things. That's if you can't do that, it's just not rocking with that. The second deal breaker is if you have kind of poor communication or like don't really know how to communicate, you haven't grown to that part in your life yet where you're open to communications, having open and honest conversations. If you have a lot of closed offness and there's things that you don't want to talk about or things like then like I applaud everybody on their journey, but for me, that's just I need somebody that's already there because communication is a really big thing with me.
Okay. Is there anything else that you can think of? I must have their finances together. Okay. Long distance. Can you tell us what state you're located in and if you're open to dating nationwide or globally
So
or what?
I'm in Georgia. Long distance, I'm out. I've just tried it too many times, too hard, especially with my schedule and the way my life is. Won't work.
Okay, so she must be in Georgia. Okay, doesn't matter if she's willing to relocate. Like maybe she works remotely and she can relocate to Georgia. That would give you more options. Just being realistic.
Um, yeah, I would say it shouldn't have to be in Georgia, but like something within that's either drivable or like maybe I'll put it this way. If they're not in Georgia, then going kind of back to the finance thing, like then we have to have the financial stability to be able to like hop on a plane, visit, due date, stuff like that or whatever. Because that's going to weigh in even heavier because trying to have just a remote relationship is hard. So I would say like
Okay, so
uh,
are you open to, yeah.
I was gonna say like the southeastern area. So if you take Georgia,
Sorry, go
Tennessee,
ahead.
Alabama, Carolinas, New York, maybe like if it's somewhat like drivable or like a quick hour flight, then cool. But yeah, again, I struggle with that one because it comes down to the person and like, is there a connection here? Are we talking like, is it? I'm not saying it's a complete deal breaker. Oh, you live in Colorado, so I'm never going to talk to you. No, but like if there's something there and it's willing on both sides, like she's able to travel, I'm able to travel. Okay, cool, sounds good. Like we can make it work. I mean, I'm at a point in my life where like getting a plane ticket to go somewhere is not a big thing. So she just has to be at that same level to be able to do that.
Okay. All right. And what do you do?
Your connection is unstable, Chi.
The question is, what do you do for a living?
Yeah, so I've been in cybersecurity my entire career. Currently, right now, I am launching my own cybersecurity company.
Oh.
All right. And are you comfortable are you comfortable stating your income, your yearly income, or a range if you're more comfortable?
Uh, since I'm literally just started up right now, my income is zero. But normally I've been high six figures most of my career. So.
Okay. Does it matter to you what she makes?
Doesn't matter what she makes. It just matters that she can manage it.
Okay. All right. And what are some of your hobbies and things that you enjoy?
Hobbies, golf, although I'm horrible at it, but I love going out and playing. Traveling, absolutely love to travel. I've been everywhere in the United States except for Wyoming and the Dakotas, which I have no plan on ever going. And then I'm adding the stamps international wise. So love to travel, reading. I am a avid reader. I love reading all kinds of different books. So that's something I thoroughly enjoy. And sports. Grew up in LA, so
Do you
love
enjoy
going.
playing the sports or like watching the sport?
Both. But now, as you know, my knees start to remind me that I'm not 25 anymore. More so watching sports and enjoying.
Okay. Do you like to be active?
Oh
Like, do
yeah.
you like to go out and what do you like to do active wise apart from golf?
Right now, so I got into cycling during the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So right now, that's one of the things I actually love to. I just finished my first 10-mile ride yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Coming
Good
back,
for
I had
you.
it's not a lot I'm trying to get. I got a buddy of mine, him and his wife do 100-milers. They're crazy. I love them, but I'm just like, no, never. But I really enjoy it. I'm getting back into it. During the pandemic, I started and I broke my ankle pretty bad. So I'm just now kind of getting back on the horse.
Okay. And going back to the finances question, I want to bring this up because you said that she must have her finances together. You did state that currently your income is at zero. So, are you in a position to date comfortably right now? Because some people might look at that and say, right? So, I'm just trying to get more insight on that.
Um, I guess I would just find like date comfortably. I mean, so the trying to put it in a good way. So in my career, I've been saving up for this moment to get the opportunity to go and launch my own company. So
Oh, okay.
when the opportunity came across, I was able to take a step and say, I'm going to go all and start this own company. So I have like, I'm fine. Like I can take care of myself and pay the bills and all this stuff or whatever. I can date, I can travel, do all those things or whatnot. It's just, I mean,
Awesome.
the reality is the income right now is zero until we get the company up and we get venture funding and so forth and so on. So
Can I ask a
Okay. Well, you just
question?
answered my question. You're still able to date, travel, and do things. Okay,
Well,
go ahead.
I'd like to know what's your cushion financially? Like how long can you maintain the lifestyle that you have now with the savings that you have in months or years?
um 2 years.
Okay. All right. Chi, you're frozen, my girl. Oh, well,
Sorry, connection's a little bit unstable.
yeah. Yeah. Oh,
She's gone.
oh my. Okay, hold on. Okay, so listen.
That's
Let's jump to a
hilarious.
quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to be. Okay. Hold on. She's coming back in. She's coming back in. So
I don't know why.
the
Sorry
connection
about that.
must have bumped you off, Chi.
Yeah.
So we don't have video on you right now, but we do have some choppy audio. So Chi, how long before you have to catch your flight, or
Oh
long before
no.
you need to board?
I'm gonna double check something. Give me just a moment.
Okay, all right. So you know what? Let me ask you this question. Oh, that's the wrong. Okay, David.
Yeah.
Um, so you said that you need for her finances to be in order. That if it were something that were long distance, that you both would be able to need to have the finances in order to be able to date long distance. What can you help me understand what you mean by that?
Um, yeah. So I mean, if it's long distance and we want to like, okay, well, maybe we want to speak in a weekend in Georgia, right? Okay, does she have the finances to buy a ticket and come to Georgia? Like, or I can come wherever she's at. Like, there's going to be a give and take there with a long distance relationship. So, I mean, it's not. I am not looking to be in a relationship where it's like, oh, well, it's like I'm constantly buying the tickets and then I got to come out there and I got to do that or whatever. That's not the type of relationship I'm looking for. So I want an actual partner who's active in a relationship that we do something together. So now, am I capable of doing that? Like, absolutely, but that's not what I want.
Okay. So ideally, you would, in terms of a long distance connection, ideally, you would like for her, if she's coming to see you, you'd want her to buy the tickets to come see you. And if you're going to see her, then you would buy the tickets to go see her.
It's not necessarily that black and white. It's just a discussion. Like, hey, like, what are we? So if we're talking about, it's like, hey, what do you want to do this weekend? Let's go. I don't know. Let's say she lives in Colorado. Let's go hiking at the Red Rock this weekend. Okay, cool. Like, I'll come out there this weekend. She goes, okay, well, I'll get you. Like, it's just, I want it to be an option in the conversation we talk about, not a like, oh, it's your turn now, you pay. No, it's my turn. No, it's just if we're doing this together, it's like, okay, hey, babe, we want to go do this together. Okay, cool. Hey, like, I'll get the tickets, you get the hotel, or you do this and you buy that. Okay, cool, no problem. Like, we just discuss it together and figure it out.
Okay. And then in when you two do get together in your marriage, how are the finances going to be split ideally for you?
However, we decide and we're comfortable with doing that.
So if she says, "Well, I don't want to put anything in towards the house finances," what are your thoughts on that in the conversation?
Okay, then it's the last part about this, the conversation. So, okay, I don't want to put anything in the house. Okay, no problem. Well, here's all of our finances and bills that we have together. What are we? Who's doing what? And it's like, okay, well, and I want to take this, or I'll take this, or I'll take this. Okay, cool. Like, I don't. For me, like I said, kind of back to about communication. Like, I'm not particular about like who does what. What I'm particular about is that we're communicating and actively doing it together. Right. So
Okay.
what it comes down to, like, I'm paying the car note, so I'm paying, I don't care. Like, pick one. It doesn't really matter. The thing is, we're actively doing this together. Right. And it's not like, oh, he does all the finances or she does all the finances. Like, this is our life together. So you need to know just as much as I need to know what our finances look like. Where are we at? If this happens, how do we do this? Right, bringing active discussions to the table. Like, hey, like, we're thinking about maybe getting some rental properties. Maybe we should invest here. Here's what I'm thinking about. Good, let's talk about that. How do we make a plan? Let's plan this. Let's do this together. So that's the thing that I'm looking for. The actual details of what it is, honestly, I do not care.
Okay. Okay. And so if she says, "Oh, well, I only want to take care of the Netflix bill and you take care of everything else," and that's the conversation, what's your response to that?
Um, how was that actively being? That's not actively being involved in our financial future. So then it's like, okay, well, you just want to take care of that. Well, then let's talk about the rest of the things that, as a couple, as a now, new life together, like, how are we managing all of these things? And if it's just a, well, I just want to do this, I'm going to be honest, like, we wouldn't even be having that conversation because we would never get to that point in marriage. Like, it would have never made it that far because we're going to be having this conversation way before we even get that close to it. So And if that's all she wants, it's like, okay, cool. Then this is not the relationship for me. We move on.
Okay, okay. So it's the I don't want to get stuck on that. I was hoping that she would have been back by now, but we might have to go into reconnaissance. I'm just trying to get a sense for the balance. Are we talking more 50-50, 70-30, 80-20, 95-5?
It's not a I want an active partner like in the financial discussion. It's not about I'm not looking at percentages. So I'm not saying you got to do this, that, or whatever. I'm saying like this is our financial future together, right? Especially if either the person has kids or we're talking about having kids, like, so you need to be invested in this and understanding how we're building towards this, right? So if you're not, so then it becomes, and then it's a conversation and it goes back and forth. It could be 100, so I could pay for everything. Okay, great. Then what is your contribution to our financial future? It's like, okay, well, maybe it's we decide, look, you take care of all the household bills, and then she's got a business or doing something else or whatever it is. Like there's got to be something, right? And so let's discuss what that is and figure out what both people are comfortable with, right? If I feel like that for me, if she's like, okay, well, you cover everything, okay, I got cover everything, but she's like, okay, but I'm going to be looking at, I've got a business that I'm running, and I'm going to be looking at investments for us for this, or I'm going to run some properties, or I'm going to do this. Cool, then I'll take all this stuff and you worry about that. Whatever it is, it gets back to like you're going to be active in the financial discussion. So
Okay, okay. And when it's time to have the baby, how do you foresee something like that affecting her ability to contribute financially?
so again, the contribute financially is just more about like, are you actively involved? She does have the baby. We have the discussion. Do you want to stay home? Like, do you want to continue to work? Like, how do you want to handle that? And we'll sit down and look at it. Most of the time, depending on how much she makes, and honestly, might be cheaper for us for her not to work because she might just make enough to where it just causes us to have a bigger tax bill. So it's like,
Okay.
hey, it might just be easier for you not to work and then stay home. So it's a discussion of what what do we want to do. I'm not the type of person to just be like, well, okay, fine, you just stay home and you be the housewife or the mom and do that or whatever. Now, if that's what she wants and she's truly fine enjoys in that, because I want my partner to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's go for it. Right. If she's like, hey, I want to do this, but I also want to have something, I still want to find things to do, but I want to take the time to be at home. Cool. Do that.
Okay, okay. And then the household chores, how do you foresee that being split or shared?
Honestly, I don't care. I hire a maid. I have one now. So
Okay, and then the cooking?
cooking, I mean, same thing. We just figure it out. Who wants
Well, do
to,
you do you
who wants to,
cook? Is
yeah.
she expected to cook? Do you cook well? Will you be doing 100% of the cooking, 50% of the cooking? What are your thoughts on eating out? What are your thoughts on being nourished?
I don't, I mean, I can cook. We can decide like who cooks, who enjoys it more. For the most part, during the week, I don't mind cooking. I make simple meals. If she wants something more elaborate, then it's like okay, we can decide it. It's honestly not high in my priority on whether or not she cooks or not. It's just again, it's a discussion of like how do we want to do this together? Like, hey, I enjoy cooking. Okay, cool. We'll do that, and maybe that's something we do together. Or she doesn't enjoy cooking, and it's like, all right, well, let's figure out how we do that. Unless we are at a point where I'm not a big eat out every day just because it's unhealthy. But I'm not opposed to like, hey, we'll just eat out. But if it's like I'm just gonna order like every night, like no, we just have to figure something out.
Okay, okay. So how do you do the cooking and stuff right now? Oh,
Oh, these comments are hilarious. How do I
can
do
you
the
see
cooking
the
and
can
stuff
you
right
see the
now?
comments? Give me 1 second. I need to get the I need to get let's see. I need to get the I it looks like Chi all right, there we go. It looks like Chi bumped off, so I had to add my thing back behind the scenes. Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're asking how to handle the cooking right now. I cook. I
Well,
don't.
no, like what's your split, your ratio between how often you eat out, how often you cook at home?
Oh no, yeah, I'm mostly because I travel a lot. So when I'm home, I cook probably 90% of the time. Because
Okay.
then once I'm on the road, I'm not able to cook. So I'm usually eating out a lot when I'm on the road. So when I'm at home, I'm
Okay.
mostly cooking.
Give me an idea of one of these simple meals that you make. Are we talking about hot pockets?
No. Chicken, kale, black beans.
Oh, okay. All
For
right.
dinner tonight. So
Wonderful. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to a quick commercial break, and then after that, I'm going to come back with some of the questions from the questionnaire so that I can be able to just spearhead this from here. I was not prepared. So I'm just going to go grab the questions from the questionnaire. I didn't know that you could see the comments. So I need to talk with the people because the people in the comments are, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to have a quick conversation with them and then we're going to jump to a commercial break and I'm going to come back with the questions. And then I'm going to open up the phone lines so that people can ask clarifying questions in case there's other things that they want expounding on. Okay, so just thank you so much for your patience and your bravery and honesty up here. Just one moment. You know, knockouts, I am I am displeased right now. I don't like the way that you all are behaving, and I think it's inappropriate because it's easy to sit there in the audience and launch your comments and insults, which I'm really surprised, stunned, and quite frankly disgusted by. What it is that we do is difficult. What it is that we're doing here tonight is difficult. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the comments after this video. And I'm expecting that each person who had a negative comment to say, I'm expecting for you to submit a marriage minded bachelor for next week's show so that we can bring him up here and have him discuss the innermost parts of what it is that he wants in a partner. The way matchmaking works is you have a person and you have them discuss what it is that they want. What are their deal breakers? What is it that motivates and invigorates them as a person? And you have other people who submit and you find out what they want and you see who matches. There is a woman who matches with David. And I don't understand why you're imposing your value standard publicly for a person who has the bravery to put themselves out here. Where is your video? Where is your announcing and putting yourself out there? Where's that? So I really hope that there are no men that are out here who are discussing and behaving in this way. I hope that there aren't because you need to be here on the hot seat, on the love seat. You need to be here. And you know what? And I see some of my knockouts and some of my text notification squad misbehaving as well. And that's going to have to be another conversation because as you can imagine, if I put the call to action out there for you all to submit your people, right? You do not know who is who is here on the love seat. You don't know who are friends of the show and who are related to people in the show. This is a person who has come up here and is putting himself out here for love. I don't understand what it is that you all are doing. We're going to jump to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to continue the conversation and then we're going to open up the phone lines. And I'm going to have to see if there are going to be some people that need to be blocked tonight. Are you tired of missing Tonya TKO's live videos? Arriving late when the video is well underway or about to end? Are you fatigued of only seeing a live video randomly while perusing YouTube and Facebook? Or worse, randomly unsubscribed? Well, now you can get a text notification whenever I go live. No longer are we dependent on the algorithm of these fickle platforms. For just $1.99 a month US and Canada or $4.99 a month international, you get a personalized text message 15 minutes before each live show. Now, you can show up early with the Tech Squad, meet other people from all over the world, and get invited to secret broadcasts off-platform. Most importantly, support your favorite independent creator. Go to TonyaTKO.com and click on text. Join the TKO Tech Squad today. For just $1.99 a month US and Canada, or $22 a year if you pay in advance, $4.99 a month international, $50 a year if you pay in advance, you'll never again be tardy to the party. I'll see you on the next broadcast. TonyaTKO.com/text. Welcome. All right. You are here live with Tonya TKO and an eligible bachelor who is on the LoveSeat. So welcome back, David. Let me bring our infinity. All right. So welcome. All right. So we are back. I have just a few questions to follow up with you, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. How are you feeling about accepting phone calls this evening?
Oh, I'm good with it. I'm just wondering, can we address the chat, or are we just gonna leave them alone? Because I'm all for a good debate, but no.
Okay, well, you know what? Listen, let me finish asking these questions, and then if you'd like to address the chat, then we can do that. So let me see what has not been asked. So we talked about children. We talked about monogamy. Well, no, we haven't talked about monogamy. Ideally, what is the preferred type of relationship that you'd like to be in?
Yeah, monogamous.
And why is that?
I've seen the challenges of other types of relationship. I got a good buddy of mine from high school. We've been close. Him and his wife have an open relationship, and for him, and for those two, it works. Like, I've truly seen it work for them. But there's a lot of challenges that come with that, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm good.
Oh, what are some of the challenges
I
that you've
want to,
seen that are just not appealing?
it's not appealing, right? Like, I want to have that connection, like a deep connection with one person. The amount of effort, and if you truly want to have that long lasting relationship, the amount of effort and connection and intimacy that it takes for one person, I do not have anything to try to create that with multiple people. So,
Okay, got you. I understand that. All right. And so it says here, oh, what would make you a great husband?
supportive, open minded, loving. I mean, from the three things that were in that form, I think probably the best quality is that when, like, I'm with somebody, like, just the ability to know that, like, you can, again, like I said, communication is really, really key with me. So, like, you can come and talk to me about anything. It's always as a safe space, right? And that's why very early on in a relationship, I'm trying to drive and get to really, really important conversations, right? You get past the initial stuff in the beginning. What do you like? Or, where you been, stuff like that, whatever. But let's get to the hard stuff. Let's get to the understanding, like, who somebody is, because that, for me, the type of person I am, I want to create a space where you can always come and talk about, like, what's going on, right? You want to talk about your day, you want to talk about what you're struggling with, you want to talk about insecurities you may have, whatever. Like, those are the things that I want my partner to be able to bring, because I want to be able to bring those same things and talk about those things too together. So, and that for me has kind of always been the strongest, I would say, like, kind of skill that I have, is just being that communicator. Everybody always feels like, oh, I can always go talk to Dave. Like, I'm the guy in the group that people hit up when they need to talk about something. And so, I think that's probably the biggest one. I've Other than that, I mean, everything else that comes with it, I don't, success or, lifestyle, stuff like that or whatever. That's cool, but, like, I don't know. To me, none of that. That stuff is nice to have, but it also, like, doesn't last, right? At the end of the day, you just want that person that you truly can be your authentic self with. So.
Okay. And marriage minded, what does being marriage minded mean to you?
So to me, it means that you are ready, and committed to get into a relationship, like into a long lasting relationship. Like you're ready to put in the work of what that means. And I think it takes I don't want to speak for everybody. I'll speak for myself. It took me a while to actually kind of get there. I think people talk about marriage and they think of the ceremony and the aspect from what it means, but actually like what marriage is, like committing to this person year in, year out, day out, as they change, as you change, and
Mm-hmm.
still wanting to say, I want to have, like, this is my person, this is who I choose. And
Okay.
so to me, being marriage minded means like you are ready, like, to make that commitment to somebody else. Some of that means kind of knowing about yourself. And then some of it, like, it's just it's one of those things you're never really ready, because you can't be ready for something that you don't know yet, right? You're going to experience and grow together. So you just have to be willing to start taking those steps.
Okay. So where did you learn how to be a husband?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say I learned how to be a husband. I just spent a lot of time in my 20s studying myself, and putting a lot of work into myself, understanding who I was, what my personality was, what I was looking for, the things that made me tick and didn't make me tick. And then from there, really having those conversations with myself, parents, friends about, you know, mostly older people in my family that had long lasting relationships, like what does that mean to them? And so I just kind of, like anybody learns anything, like just learn from mistakes in life, right? Making mistakes and looking at relationships. Every relationship I've ever had, I take a step back and say, what went wrong? Everybody has the initial statement, well, it was all
Yeah.
that person's fault, right? That's where we all start. But I luckily very early on, I had a mentor in my life that told me, like, everything you do, always be objective and always look at like what happened, get past the hurt, get past whatever it is, but then also like what can you actually learn from that? And I just applied that to everything. So even in relationships. So
Okay.
to answer your question a little bit more succinctly, I don't. I've just learned from mistakes and growing and talking to people. I wouldn't sit here and say that, like, because of all that, like I'm ready to be a husband. I just know that, like, I'm ready to make those steps. And then to me, it's hard to answer that question because I'm the husband of somebody else, right? Like, so I'm going to be their husband.
Right.
I'm really in wedding to be willing and ready to be what they need for that is, and we have to figure out what those things fit.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Great. Mm, Describe some aspects of a relationship that you've seen from which you would like to model some of the behaviors from that relationship. And then I'm going to ask you the flip side on that.
Um, the best one is my aunt and uncle. They're like my second parents, and I'm laughing because I grew up with them, and they are polar opposites. Like my aunt is full tilt, like quick to tell anybody about anything all the time, and my uncle will probably say 5 words to you in 3 hours, if you're lucky. There's got to be a baseball game on to get more than that from him. But the two of them, watching the two of them together, they're over 50 years now. Um, what I love is their ability to accept each other's opposite personalities, but know each other enough to go, like, if my aunt just kind of says something and is just being kind of her, my uncle knows her enough to know that that's her personality, right? Like
Hmm.
it's like, I'm not gonna take everything personal, but that I know who she is. So they see each other. I think is the biggest thing I can say. And that's something that, and they have that relationship. They can joke with each other, they can laugh at each other, like they can just, it's beautiful. So that part is something I would take. Another, this is a colleague of mine. Him and his wife, they travel everywhere. They raise two beautiful kids and they go everywhere as a family together. And that has always been something for me that I've never, when I would say like not a traditional marriage or house, like I envy that because I love traveling. So that's an aspect I would love to have, like somebody I can travel the world with our family, do those things, live abroad for a couple of months and see that culture and, teach our kids about that culture, then come back. Like, I'm definitely not I will be in one place for the next 60 years type of guy. There's too much of this world to see.
Okay, okay. And what about a relationship that you've seen where there's some aspects that you definitely do not want in your relationship?
Well, toxicity, number one. Like I'm not like the kind of referencing my buddy again who found his relationship now. He's in an open marriage. The relationships he had before that, where they were just, I mean, like very toxic. Like they would literally each of them doing things to specifically piss the person off and cause this argument to happen because that's the only time they actually really talked or things like that. Like I don't, none of that. Like I don't need to. I don't want to. I don't want any part of that. Like I said, I'm communicator. Love to talk. Let's have it out. Right. I grew up, debating and researching. So I love that there's a healthy conversation where we cannot agree on something and find a compromise, and there's an unhealthy one. I don't want any part of the unhealthy one. Like there's no need to yell and scream and come and do all kind of stuff or whatever. Like that's just unnecessary. Emotions get high,
Got
absolutely
you.
fine.
Got you. Got you.
Um,
And then next question, tell me if you were to imagine a day in the life with you and your partner, what would that look like during the week? And then I'm going to ask you about the weekend.
um, yeah, during the week, probably I'm usually up early. So, we're up. Hopefully we have time to like spend some time together in the morning. I'm the type of person I get up in the morning. I'm usually pretty quiet, just kind of focusing on where my day is going to go for that day. But that's something I would just love to spend with that partner, right? We just kind of, whether it's eating breakfast, having coffee, something like that, or whatever. But we just kind of sit down and just kind of talk about our day, right? Prepare each other for the day, kind of give each other those affirmations, right? Being being Black in America is not easy, right? And it's one of those things where as we're walking out, if we're not spending the day like together, if we're walking to our different paths, just having that time to really kind of talk and connect, and give her the affirmation she needs to go enjoy her day, and vice versa. After that, we kind of go work, do our things. I'm not a big texter during the middle of the day because I'm usually focused on work, but maybe a quick text here and there, just kind of see like how each other's doing, stuff like that or whatever. Come home, figure out, let's spend the night, figure out what if we're gonna cook something, if we're gonna go out, like if there's kids, what are we doing with the kids, spend time with the family, and at least get an 30 minutes. I'd love an hour. Sometimes, depending on the days doesn't work, but at least get 30 minutes. It's just us. And it doesn't have to be anything like just crazy. We could just sit there, right? And be like, I'm tired, you tired. Like, don't say nothing. Let's just sit here and be
Hmm.
with each other for the day. And then we just go to bed, set them, do the same thing next day.
Okay. And then what about weekend?
Weekends,
A day in the life with
it's
David.
yeah. Ideally, weekends. I don't have anything to do that weekend. Work has been good, and we out. Like, let's go. Where we going? And it's either we gonna drive to the. I grew up in LA, so I'm used to going down to the coast. Either we gonna drive to the beach, we gonna go to the mountain. Like we doing something. Like we are outside. Let's go. If we got kids, grab the kids. Let's go do this. Let's go do something. Let's go enjoy. Let's go enjoy this time. Like not just being stuck in four
Hmm.
walls or something.
All right. So
Very
question for you now. How often are you going down to the coast now and doing those sorts of things?
Not a lot because East Coast, everybody's so far. I think I haven't been to the beaches here in Georgia. I've only been here 2 years. I want to say Savannah's like 4 hours from here, maybe 5 hours from here. So not a lot here. Most of the time when I go to the coast is when I'm back on the West Coast. I'll do a business trip or I'll go home to see my family, my mom, and then I always get a couple extra days and I go down to the coast.
Okay.
So
Well, if your ideal weekend is going down to the coast and you've been in Georgia for 2 years, why haven't you done that yet? Why haven't you gone to the coast and done these things that you would ideally like to do with a partner?
because since I've been here, it's been a lot. I moved here and I haven't really been here. So I've been on the road a lot since I got here. And then I was back and forth to California for most of last year as my mom was dealing with some medical issues. So I
Hmm.
haven't really just spent a lot of time here in Georgia yet.
Okay. And so now you're in the process of starting your business, right? How do you foresee a relationship being able to also start at this time?
It's definitely going to be a challenge, right? That's not. I wouldn't sit here and say it would be easy. It's going to be it's going to have something that we're going to have to find the time to, again, like I said, have those. I'm really big about connecting and talking, so it would be, hey, let's do the dates, but let's make sure we're talking and spending the time to kind of really get to know each other and understanding schedules. Mine is going to be ridiculously hectic. The next 2 months alone, I've got 4 different trips and conferences that I need to go speak at, and different things I need to go do to raise funds. So it's, I foresee like just being a challenge, just kind of finding a time to just, build up that initial, the initial connection that every new relationships needs. So,
Okay, so when do you think that you'll be ready to like meet a woman and, get started?
well, there's no like,
So
you're never ready for anything.
you're
You
ready
just
to
gotta,
meet her now as you build your business.
yeah, like it's, I'm, how it says, I'm open to meeting her like now. I just realized that there's going to be, I couldn't sit here and predict and say, oh, it's going to be a better time here and now. Like
Got you.
I'm starting a tech startup. It's about to be crazy. So
Got you. Got
I
you.
just gonna have to make it work.
Got you. Got you. Got you. All right. And then so let's talk about the race and body type of your partner. Um, what ideally, what is it that you're interested in?
Ideally a black woman. I'm not opposed to anybody. I would just say the best way I've answered this question is like, if you're not gonna be a black woman, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging, right? There's again, but I'm big on like the conversation and things that we can talk about. The biggest thing is just being black in this country is no joke, and so like there's just days that it's just a lot easier coming home to somebody who just kind of gets it, and I don't have to kind of like explain why I, you know, feel a certain way I feel. But so it would, I'm ideally leaning towards black women. Body shape, be just as long as you really be active, like you're not like a homebody and like never wants to leave the house and do anything. I'm not about to sit here and like I'm some 6'2", 225 cut dude. Play football most of my life. I play defensive line on the bigger side. So I'm just about like, but I like to go out and have fun. Like I said, I go biking, I go hiking. So if you can keep up, let's roll. Like,
Okay.
but that's probably the best on that.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so tell us somebody that a woman that you've seen in the media, somebody that we can look at to reference that you think is a little bit of your style, your type.
Um, so I don't know if they're my type, but I would just say like if I put like a celebrity crush right now, it's Issa Rae.
Oh,
And it's mostly I and this is an assumption, but because she's so creative in her shows and I love her shows, I feel like I would love her mind. Like she would be amazing to talk to. And that above anything, that's it for me. That's where it starts. Like I just want somebody to talk about stuff about. So she's also funny. She's got a very similar sense of humor to what I have. So I think it's one of those things that we could crack jokes. We can go back and forth. So yeah.
okay. All right. And so I'm going to open up the phone lines. You said you want to address the people in the comments, but stand up. Let us see your stature. Let us see what you're working with.
You want me to stand up?
Yeah, so we
If I
can
stand up, you're
see
not gonna be able
what
to
you're
see me.
working with. Oh, really?
Well, because if I stand up, I'm sitting on a laptop, so
I mean, you're a
I don't have
tech guy.
my.
I'm sure you can figure it out so that we can see the stature. So we want to see the body, see what the body is looking like because you're
What do
talking
you want me
about
to do?
being
Scroll?
active and hiking and all this other stuff. That's the body's looking like.
What do you want me to model?
Yes.
I'm good. Only thing I can do is walk to the side and span the camera down. But I mean,
Okay. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So you said you wanted to address the people in the comments real quick. So go ahead, do that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to open up the phone lines.
all right. Let's see some of these chats. Okay, somebody said that I was like, I think I said something about being closed-minded. I would, I would argue not closed-minded. I am. I'm 42 years old. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. I'm set in my ways to an extent. That doesn't mean I'm not open to a conversation and change in a way, but again, that's a debate. That's something we need to talk about and go through. Um, what else? Somebody said I was like contrasting like my beard, like going back and forth. I didn't really get that part. So yeah, don't really know what you're talking about. I think somebody said like, I think he thinks these questions are silly. I wouldn't say they were silly. It's just to me, those are the superficial questions, right? I'm worried about and I want to focus on like the deeper questions, like what's going on with you? Like, who are you as a person? What trauma have you been through? What things do you carry? What baggage do you have? How do you deal with that baggage? Like, what's your idea? Like, what's your plan for the future? Like, those are the things that I want to get and kind of talk to. Um, but he's one of those that likes to argue, red flag. There's a difference between arguing and debate. I come in peace. A debate is not an argument. A debate is actually how you learn. So if you have a certain stance on something that I don't agree with, then you're going to defend that stance. And as you're defending that stance, I'm going to learn more about it, what it is, and your points that you believe in, and vice versa. And that's how, which we have lost sometimes in probably, I would say, America, but definitely society, as we have lost the ability to do that. That's not arguing. That's understanding somebody else's point. So in that case, if you want to call it arguing, I'm arguing with you. I don't like to argue. I love to debate. What do I think about sex before marriage? I mean, it's something that's not like, I mean, that's not something I'm like, oh, let's not have sex before marriage. I'm open to it. Like if we have sex before marriage, I have no problem with that. If I'm with somebody and they say, look, I don't want to have sex before marriage, I respect that. Again, because I'm more focused on the mental and connection than anything else and understanding that person. And I don't need sex to understand who you are as a person. Would it be ideal? No. I mean, I'm not gonna say here in front, like I say I don't like sex. I do.
Okay. All right. Well, she has some sex questions that she asked in terms of, I think she said the question is on a scale of 1 to 5, or is it 1 to 10? Does anybody remember? Is somebody said she was in
It
the
was
comments.
it was 1 to 10. I saw it from the last episode.
Okay. So what was the question that she asked to help us?
She asked the gentleman, and it just so happened this was the clip that I landed on, right? But she was asked the gentleman like on a scale of like 1 to 10. And she was like, it was important because she didn't want to like match like a 2 with a 9 or something like that or whatever. I'd probably fall somewhere around an 8 if I were rating myself, only because there's still other things that, I mean, what would you kind of quantify as a 10? But yeah, probably 8. I've told people like I have a very European view of like sex and just the sexual status in general. Like Americans usually tend to be based on a very Puritan society and Christian society, so very repressed. They like to, very like, oh, this is taboo. They don't like to talk about stuff like that or whatever. When I got a chance to travel internationally, I realized that I connected kind of more with people. One, like to come to a European culture was like it's sex. Like you're a man, I'm a woman. Like we're attracted, we're going to want to have sex. How do you think kids got here? Like it's not like this big taboo thing. So if you're into something, then okay, let's talk about it. Like, am I going to sit here and tell you I'm gonna love everything you're gonna come up with? Probably not, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna see. And it was like, hey, try anything once. If it's between us and that's what we do, let's go for it. So
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Listen, let's get these phone lines open. Thank you so much for that. Okay. All right.
Infinity screen.
Yeah. I gotta get. That's not the right one. Let me see. I'm trying to find
No, my
the.
is not immigrants, Golden Pisces, but I've traveled a lot internationally.
Okay. That's
No, I necessarily do not like white girls. I just said I'm open. I would actually prefer black women. I'm gonna stop addressing your comments. Sorry, I don't want to turn your show into something else. But
what else would you be turning it into?
I just look. I'm
Okay.
just trying to respect this. This is your show, your thing.
All right. So phone lines are open 323-488-3149. We have David on the love seat who is looking for a young lady between the ages of 38 and 45, right? Who
Yes.
is, when we talk about stature, that you would like mainly a black woman, but you said that you're open. You said if she's not black, that it'll just be more difficult. He's in Georgia and looking for someone ideally in Georgia or in the Southern Belt.
Right.
And if you are not in Georgia, okay, so we have our first phone call. You're on the air live with Tonya and David. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Stefan, and I'm from Arkansas.
Okay, Stefan. So what is your question or comment this evening?
So I just wanted to know how open you are about sex in general, because as long as I've been watching Tonya, Tonya is pretty openly sexual. Like, she likes to experiment and things like that. So would you be open to being kinky and things like that? Like, she's not very conservative when it comes to that. So are you
As
going to be able to fulfill her needs?
Stefan, do you think that he's here
What,
to match with
Tonya?
me?
Huh?
Do you think that he's here to match with me?
Is he not here to match with you?
No, is that why you were being a mean boy in the
Uh,
comments?
I wasn't trying to be mean, but I know what you want. I'm sorry.
You know what I want, but you don't know what we're doing here. We're processing
Oh my
him for a young
Lord.
lady who may be interested in him. So if you are interested, go to TanyaTKO.com, click on the shop area so that you can submit for your background check so that we can get you processed and see if what you want, if it aligns with what he wants. So Stefan, that's why
That
you were
makes a
being a
lot of
mean boy
sense.
in the comments because you're
That makes
like,
a
oh, I
lot of
gotta
sense.
protect Tanya. So that's why you were behaving this way.
I love you, Tonya. I know what you want. I'm so sorry. I feel stupid.
Wow. Well, I don't know if your apology is accepted because you were being very disruptive, Stefan.
No, I
You were
really am
being very
sorry. I mean it.
disruptive. Okay, so since you're on the
You're
line
right.
and you have and so now you got no problem with confrontation, you were saying that this man
Uh-oh.
is a homosexual. Yeah. I read that many times over, so much so you were spamming the comments. So now you're here. Qualify your statement since you're talking directly to the man that you accused of being a homosexual.
Okay. Are you homosexual?
No.
Okay. So you've never had thoughts or anything about a man?
Nope.
What is
Okay.
it that made you feel that he was a homosexual, Stefan?
Well, I mean, I'm a gay man, so I can clock them. Like, I know gay men. So, I mean, but he may be, I mean, he's very educated, he's articulate, he's very thoughtful. He's not the typical, like, he doesn't fit the typical straight man. So maybe that might be what it is. So
So because I'm
I
thoughtful
would,
and
uh,
articulate, I have to be gay.
yeah,
Like,
I
oh,
would say
that's
you're probably more in touch with your feminine side. I would say you're emotionally intelligent, which a lot of men are not like that, and so that kind of threw me off because I'm like, most straight men are not as deep as you are. So, but that could be a plus, honestly. I mean, I think you're a catch, but I just wasn't sure, and then I didn't know that you were looking for someone different and not Tonya. Because if you were looking for Tonya, I find that, you know, Tonya would be with someone a little different.
okay. Interesting. I mean, that's a interesting perspective. I don't, yeah, yeah. I don't want to turn it into like a debate on Tanya's show, but I appreciate that perspective. it's interesting. Like I don't know if you heard it, but like I did spend a lot of time early on in my age of careers. I had a lot of mentors that like, taught me to read a lot of books. Right, working in corporate America and having to manage the teams, I had to learn a lot about myself, and emotional intelligence is important working in the spaces that I work in. So,
Mhm.
but I find I do find it kind of a little disheartening though that like that it's a trait that because you're not emotionally intelligent or that you're not articulate, like that, then you're not a straight man. Like I find that a little kind of disheartening, but I mean, that's for another discussion. So,
I think it's a
but I
cop
appreciate
out.
you.
Yeah.
You're not going to get
What?
off that easy, because if you're going to be bold enough to make the statements in the comments,
Why do you
be
think
bold
it's a
enough to,
cop out,
because
Tonya?
I think it's a cop out because you started calling him gay. First of all, you started calling him gay before he even expressed all of his emotional intelligence. You started calling him, you said you clocked him. You said you know how to clock him.
Mhm.
So keep it real.
Right.
Keep it real. You you had these assessments, and I want you to keep it real, because you said you clocked him, and you clocked him long before he started talking about his emotional intelligence. So you could try to stereotype if you want to, but I don't know if we can say that men in the gay community are emotionally intelligent and all of this other stuff, because men in the gay community are sticking their penises through holes at the truck stop and letting anybody on the other side suck on it. So I don't know about the emotional intelligence of that. So you said you clocked him. What is it about this man that you feel your gaydar picked up on?
I mean, I, I guess it was just a vibe. It was a vibe, maybe a little bit of mannerisms. Um, but I do have to agree with you. I do question gay men's emotional intelligence as well. So you're right about that. Um, they're not Gay men aren't very selective with their partners, and like you've said in past videos, um, the sex is rampant and it's out of control. I mean, you're right about that. And so,
Yeah. So so you're saying manner, have you ever heard that before about your mannerisms, David?
No, that's why this
Okay.
is so it's interesting to me. And look at the comments. Everybody's like, "Oh, he could be on the DL." I'm just like, it just
Mhm.
it's very interesting to me to hear that because somebody carries himself in a certain way or articulate, or I'm sure about myself and who I am and my emotions and what I want, and I'm in touch with those, that gets painted as feminine. To me, that's just maturity. Like I don't
hmm
so to me, it's just like as you get older and you learn more about yourself, you learn what you like, you learn what you don't like, you learn about your personality. Not everybody takes the time to study and get into it. Okay, cool. But at some point, as you get older, like you learn more about yourself. But I mean,
right.
look, everybody's perspective is going to be different. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
look, I'm all like I said, I told everybody in chat, like I'm here for it. I want to hear, I like hearing different people's perspectives and hearing things and how they see things because I don't see everything the way everybody else sees it. So, you know, is it a Stephen, a Stefan? I'm not sure.
a
Yeah,
Stefan.
Stefan. Yeah.
Look, like, I appreciate you just willing to willing to talk about it, man. Like, I would, you know, that's your opinion. You said what you said. You owned up to it. Cool. Like, but I
Yeah.
would
Well,
like.
I just thought it was in a different context because if you were looking to be matched up with Tonya, then I felt like I was looking out for my girl. That's how I came. That's how I approached it. But it's a different context because you're not even looking to match with her. So that's a whole different ball game. I just didn't read the room correctly. However, I will say maybe my thought process may be distorted because of different life experiences and things like that. And someone also in the Telegram, in the Backstage Telegram, they made a good point that they found it funny that if a black man is articulate or smart or emotionally intelligent, then he could be deemed as more feminine. And so they made a good point that maybe people are quick to judge about that. So
Mm.
for that, I mean, I am sorry for that. I don't think if you are gay, I don't think it's a bad thing. But I was just coming from it from I just want Tonya to be matched up with a
Are
person
you
that she's going to be fitted well,
are you
basically.
interested in him, Stefan? Is that part of the impetus?
Tonya, I'm not going to play with you. I do think he's very handsome, and I do like that he's educated and articulate. I do like that, but I was just looking out for you, Tonya, and I am very sorry that I came off disrespectful. I really am.
I mean, I think there's a few different things going on. I think there's a few different things going on, but now you're trying to rob
I
the
agree.
menses. You're trying to rob the menses for yourself. Okay. Listen, I'm going to let you jump off of the line so that we could take the next phone
Okay.
call. I appreciate you calling up and standing
Yes.
by your word as well as
And Tonya,
mhm.
and the person that is on the hot seat at the point, I am sorry, and I love you, Tonya, and I am sorry for coming off like that. It was unbecoming. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So they
Live
they
it.
want to so you know what, they want you to jump back in the comments and give your definition of what masculinity is to you, because you know what, I am
Ooh,
I am
okay.
going to I am going to be really honest. I think it's a little disheartening, you know, from a gay man, and I see another gay man in the
Yeah,
comments, right? I think it's a little disheartening that now we're positing that gay has a look, that gay has a feel or movement, because there's so many straight acting gay men who no one
you're
knew, even their
right.
partners knew that
You
they
are so
were on the
right.
down low. So I don't know. I think that this is a conversation for another day to explore. But thank you so much for calling in, Stefan.
Okay. All right, baby.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye bye. All right. So phone lines are open. We're gonna take the next call. And we're gonna I want to be able to get people who want to ask him clarifying questions about things that he said. And if you are interested in David, the links are in the description of the video, where you can go to tanyatko.com. In the shop area, you can purchase your background check, because everybody who comes up here is background checked. And I want to give this statement to the people who are watching. We do need more marriage minded men to come to the Love Seat for Monday. So if you're watching this and you're a marriage minded man who would like to get matched, by all means, please submit for your background check so that we can be able to look and see who you are, and have things match up. Part of the benefit of dealing with a matchmaker and going through the matchmaking service is the people that you're interacting with are verified. Their ages are verified. And also they are pre-qualified to be marriage minded. What's happening out here nowadays, and part of the reason that it's sometimes a struggle to get marriage minded men on the Love Seat, is because there are a lot of people out there who are not necessarily ready for marriage, interested in marriage, not ready to proclaim who it is that they are and what it is that they want in terms of dating and relationships. And so they're saying one thing and they're going out there and behaving another way, or they're just out there on the prowl just looking for intercourse. And I think that that's the difference between here and a lot of other places, is that here you're dealing with a person who is being held accountable by the matchmaker so that their behavior is not Harry Carey out there. All right, so listen, let's get these phone lines back open. 323-488-3149. We missed a few different phone calls, so go ahead and call back in. We have David on the Love Seat. What is it that I didn't ask you that you think is relevant?
Nothing that comes to mind. I think we covered most of the important topics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't think of
Okay.
anything else to add to that.
Marianne says she's interested. So, Marianne, call in and ask a qualifying question. I'm going to call back some of the numbers that called in, and I'm going to see whether or not we can grab some of these ladies and get them back on the line. So, give me just 1 second.
Hi. I'm sorry I missed your call. I'm either away from my phone.
Okay. You're on the air live with Tonya and David. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Tonya, it's NT. I'm calling from California. Hi, David.
Hi,
Hey, what's going on?
NT. Welcome to the line. So, what is your question this evening, NT?
Yeah, so my question is regarding financial literacy. I think David spoke kind of like briefly about it when he made a comment, something about it's not, as far as his partner is concerned, it doesn't matter how much money she makes as long as she's able to manage it. So I wanted to kind of get more of a clarifying question on one, how do you like how do you value financial literacy in your personal dealings, and what kind of level of financial literacy are you expecting or would like your partner to have when coming into the relationship?
Yeah, good question. Thanks for asking. So for me, so financial literacy is a big thing to me. It's something that I think a lot of people in just the general community need. We don't get taught that in schools anymore, things of that nature. Specifically, what I would be talking about is like, do you understand, like, do you know what your credit score is? Do you understand your credit score? Do you know how to manage that? Do you have, you don't strictly have to have like a budget that you stick to all the time. I am a budgeter. I am not a strict budgeter, but I know how to like balance the account and stay within a budget. Do you have savings? Do you know what it is to save? Do you already have that, put together? Like, can you, do you have an emergency savings, right? Like, are you living paycheck to paycheck, or if something goes wrong, like, are you going to be okay? Like, you can't be living at the point where it's like anything that happens is an emergency and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next, right? There's, learning and understanding and spending time with financial literacy will get you there. And it is hard. Like, I get it. Like, I don't say that like I grew up with a silver spoon. Like, I grew up with a single mom. There were days that I didn't even know the lights was going to get cut off, but my mom being my mom, I never knew. Right. So I just knew when I came out that I was like, I want to make sure that I understand this. So that's mostly what I'm looking for. Like, do you understand like how to manage money? Like, if there's an aspect that you have, like if you are given $10,000, like, are you going to be able to manage it and know that, okay, I'm going to do this with it, I'm going to save this much, and this is how I'm going to put away to do these things? Like, do you just have that concept around managing and using money? Like, if you don't, and it's just, well, here's what I pay, and then this is what I get in, and I just do this, that's going to be a problem.
All right. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I have a second question.
Okay.
Do it.
And my my second question has to do with fetishes and kinks. Do you have any, and are there any that you're definitely against?
Against pegging, like, that's just not happening. So we can
Okay.
we can cut that off the gate. Like, that's not going to happen. Fetishes, bondage is, I enjoyed that. That's fun. And that's more of like, I wouldn't say like I'm an expert at it. I've learned a couple of things with like ropes. I know some knots, things like that, or whatever. So that's something I would enjoy, like learning and progressing with a partner that's into that. Other than that, let me think. Other than that, everything else would just be, again, it'd be an open discussion. It'd be something fun for us to figure out, together. So.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I would definitely be hitting you up. Okay. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Well, you know what? Go to TonyaTKO.com. The link is in the description, and shop and just submit for your background check, and then we will go from there.
Oh yeah, I definitely got it. Thank you, Tonya, so much. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you. All right. Did you have a question for her before she jumped off? Oh, she jumped off. Oh my goodness. It
Yeah,
went
she
so
got what she
quickly.
needed. She good.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So there's another call that we missed. I'm gonna try reaching back out to this person.
Yeah, your chat is so crazy. Hey, that's not what I said.
Oh, I don't think she's answering. Okay. Well, we are just going to, all right. The lines are open, 323-488-3149. There is someone who sent a question in through the apples. And Sasha sends in 222 and says, make thoughtful, articulate Black men great again. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
We
it's clearly,
appreciate that.
we're gay or on the DL out here. So I don't know, just tell people we gotta step up. I mean, it's I'm not gonna preach to y'all, but I will say this is one of the things that I find like really disheartening in our community, and I'm speaking specifically in the Black community, is that this animosity between Black women and Black men, and a lot of it is our own faults because of what's been out there and hurting people. But like I don't know, man. I want us to do better, like to be able to talk to each other and see each other, and I don't know, like what we lash out about how so many people outside of our race have these stereotypes about us, and we have all these stereotypes about ourselves, and it sucks, and it's tearing us more apart than it's doing anything else. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna preach to y'all. But
What are your
yeah.
thoughts on the manosphere?
On the manosphere, I'm not sure what that is.
Have you ever heard the name Kevin Samuels?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Kevin Samuels and the content that he put out?
So I didn't know anything about Kevin Samuels until I saw him on Atlanta. And I was like, I didn't even know who the dude was. And then I went and saw like some of his content. I will say this. While some of it I agree with, I didn't agree with the tone at which he put it across. So there's what I've learned, and what I had to learn very early on is it's not sometimes about what you say, but it's in how you say it, and sometimes when you say it. Granted, content creator, right? In this world of like, let's just get somebody to respond. Like a lot of this stuff was just for the content, right? I don't know the man or know enough about him if this was his real beliefs or he just wanted to say some crazy stuff to put it out there because people will respond and blah 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 and create it. But from the content that I saw, and I'm not gonna say like I saw everything about it. Some of the stuff that I agree with is there is a you you both of people have to be accountable for what they're bringing to
Just
something.
a moment. We're gonna follow up on that. There's a call coming in. You're on the air live with Tonya TKO and David on the LoveSeat. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Tam Tam Love, and
Hey,
I'm
Tam
calling from
Tam.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, welcome, welcome. So, what is your clarifying question for David on the LoveSeat today?
Well, I've been married for on the 6th it'll be 16 years. And so I have some insight on longevity in relationships. And one of the things that I wanted to know is how does he cope with stress? So stressful situations. What is his go-to mechanism for stressful situations and coping with them?
For me, it's probably going to be something active. So either go for a ride or like head to the gym. Is when and that I will say that's when I'm aware of it. Like if I feel like I know that I'm building up on stress and it's coming out, I'll get in front of it and just try and go do something to kind of cope with that. The bad part of it is like if I don't know, like if I'm not if I'm doing too much, like I got too much on my plate and I'm not being careful and monitoring like how much I'm taking in, it's the bad side is I'll tend to kind of like I get laser focused, right? And I tend to shut down, right? I'm just kind of what's the next thing in front of me? I got to move to this. I got to move to this. I'm not really paying attention to anything else. And so it's one of those things, those areas where I look to grow in that area, try and be better. And it's one of those things I would talk to, like having a partner, like, hey, like, these are areas where I would ask for help. Like if you see this, you know what I'm saying? Like be okay enough to go, hey, like, I think you need to slow down. I think you need to take a step. I think you need to kind of pull back a little bit. Because sometimes I just don't notice it. But for the most part, I'm pretty good about checking it and knowing like when I've got too much on my plate, too many things to do. And so I try and get out, do something active. Honestly, like I said, I grew up in LA, being able to get to the coast in 30 minutes. I'm gonna find a body of water and just go hang out on the beach and be tranquil and like hear the waves coming in. So
Okay,
That's a
well,
good
Tam
answer.
Tam,
I like it.
yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for calling in.
Yes,
Oh,
thank
listen,
you
Tam
for the
Tam, so
answer.
you're married, so submit a bachelor for next Monday.
Oh boy.
Talk to your husband and see who he knows.
Well, I'll look out. I'll see what I got.
Why you sound so skeptical?
I don't know, Tanya. The guy you have on here seems really nice. I don't know many men who aren't already married who seem presentable.
Oh
to bring
my,
on your
unpresentable. My
show.
goodness. Well, you know what? Talk to your husband. Look through your phone book. This goes for everybody out there. Look through your phone book and see which good guys are in there who are single, marriage minded, and wanting to be matched. All right. Well, Tam Tam, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Good night. All right. So you were answering in what it is that you agreed with in terms of Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, so like, and I know the chat going crazy because I know he's a controversial type dude. So number one, like, no, I didn't follow him, so I don't know everything that he talked about. I'm not a big content creator follower in the first place, so it's not like, so I don't know all the stuff that he said. So I could probably point to one what I heard him say something, and then somebody could point to 10 other things where he said this or whatever. Cool. Do I agree with everything that ever came out of the man's mouth? No.
Just
The things that I
mhm.
did see that I saw was what I took from it, and I'm not going to paraphrase because I don't remember it. Was just being accountable, like both people, like being accountable to like what you're bringing to a relationship. And I think the biggest one was when he was talking to a young lady. And again, I didn't like the way that he was talking to her. I was like, there's a different way you could have went about that. But the point that he was trying to say is like, you want somebody that has all these things. So then what are you bringing that would attract a person that has that? Are you looking at the things that that person would be attracted to get that? Or is it just, you want this? And I was like, yo, that's an important question. And it goes both ways. Now, Kevin Samuels never went that way. He had his statements. He would say what he wanted to say, and women have to do this and all that stuff, whatever. That's his opinion. That's what it is. I just remember hearing that, and me and my buddies, there's a group chat, we had a long talk about it. I was like, to me, what I hear about that is accountability. Like, you can say you want whatever, you want to be a millionaire. Okay. Well, what are you doing to the
Yes,
steps
well,
to
let's
overcome that?
talk.
So
Saved by the Bell. Call is coming in. You're on the air live with Tonya and Mr. David on the Love Seat. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Sharon.
Your name is what?
Sharon.
Oh, Sharon, and where you calling from, Sharon?
I am in Ohio right now.
Okay, so what is your question that you have for Mr. David?
I just wanted to know, like, what are your requirements for an individual that you are interested in, and say that you guys get into a full relationship and you guys start dating. What are some of the requirements that you would have that is like a must?
So one we've kind of discussed already is just financial literacy. Like, you need you to be able to understand and manage your money, and be in a place where that's something that I can, trust and confide in, that you have that under control, that you can manage that. Number two is just, willingness to be like open and communicate. I'm not requiring anybody to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, but you got to be willing to be open and talk about it. If there's a lot of closed offness, or, don't want to talk about and communicate things, that's not something I'm interested in doing. So those would probably be the two biggest requirements.
Okay, why do
But
you
like,
ask that, Sharon? Go ahead. You have a
I'm
follow up?
I'm sorry, what you say?
I said, why do you ask that? And it sounded as if you had a follow up, so I'm giving you the floor to finish.
Oh, yeah. No, I just wanted to know, like, outside of just the, the material aspects, because I know certain people, I know that being able to communicate is definitely a top priority, but everyone has these emotional and mental needs, and, gratifications and to be satisfied, basically. And I just wanted to know, like, outside of certain things, what else do you need? It just seemed like it's it would be so much more needed. That's all I'm saying. And my second question is, everyone always talks about their accomplishments and what everything that they have and what they have done. What are some of your weaknesses, and what would you like to do to better yourself? Where's
One of them was, as we addressed on like the previous caller, like I can get laser focused on the things that I'm going after, and sometimes that's to a detriment, to where I'm not paying attention to the other things that's going around me. And those are definitely things that I want to check in. And like when the stress gets too bad, because I got a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with, I tend to just kind of shut down, right? And I'm just kind of focused on the next thing. And that on the outside appears that I'm shutting off from another person, and sometimes I don't even notice it. So those are things that I want to work on. The other one is um, I don't want to say this, really just I would say tone and how to address certain things. Like I said, I learned a lot very early on, like how to that it's not sometimes it's about how you say something, when you say it, timing. Like I'm very much like, if there's an issue, let's talk about it, let's get through it, right? Like we don't need to let it like sit and dwell over weeks and whatever. That's a problem, let's get to it, let's figure it out. Learning that in working on that sometimes it's not always the right time to do that, and sometimes it's about taking time to figure out how I feel about something, what I want to say about something, to make sure that it comes across in the right way, that the other person feels comfortable like talking about something, so we can actually get to the root of it. That is something that I've learned, I would say lately in the last 5 years, I've really kind of worked on, because although I feel like I've gotten better at communicating open things, everybody's different. Like when you get frustrated, or you get angry or something like that or whatever. So still kind of having that patience to go, okay, I want to get to the root of something. I want us to talk about this, but like maybe my tone's not coming out the right way. Maybe I need to take a step back and figure out how I'm saying this, so we can kind of create that openness and talk about it.
Hmm. Okay. Well, thank you. That was some great questions. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. We're right. We had gotten a call in during that. Let's see if we can reach her back.
Yo, this chat is crazy.
You're live with Tonya TKO and David on the Love Seat. What's your name and where are you calling in from?
Hi, Tonya. Hi, Tonya. Hi, David. I'm Monica, calling from Atlanta. How are you both?
Hi, Monica in Atlanta. Thank you. So what is your question, your clarifying question for David tonight?
So I was late to the live. I have a clarifying question for David about family. You mentioned you were raised by a single mother. Do you have a plan? And first, assuming that she's still with us, do you have a plan for her? Like, are you a caregiver? Are you an only child? What is your dynamic in your family as far as like financial obligations to your family?
Yeah, so I am 4 of 4, and the last one of 4. My mom is still here; she's still with us, and I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this chat. So right now, the deal with my siblings is that we kind of have a rotation of who's working with my mom as she's kind of getting older. She did have a health scare last year, so I spent a lot of time kind of going back to California. I'm second in place, that if we need to take her and make sure that she's here with somebody, I'm second on the list. Um, mm, I'm trying to, although I'm the youngest, I'm usually the most responsible. So more than likely, if things got to a certain point, it would be on me. And it has been a plan since, honestly, my mid-20s, since I started working, right? So I've always kind of thought, like, the houses that I buy, I always make sure there's an extra room. Now that I've got this property, the next one I'm looking at, it's going to have one floor because she can't really go upstairs anymore, things like that. So it is always a thought process in the back of my mind, that if that comes to fruition, that I want to make sure that I'm available if she needs something.
Okay,
Okay,
that was a
that's
really great
awesome.
question.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye. So, thank you. I have a follow-up question for you. You said one of the things that you agreed with. So the phone lines are closed. If you do have additional questions, right, or if you think that you're a good match, you can always reach out and be processed to get to have your intake with the matchmaker. So she will be doing that. Let me get us to the screen that we need. That's not it. All right, there we go. All right. So you said that one of the things that you agreed with about Kevin Samuels is that a woman should, like, if she wants all of these things in a man, that there are things that she should bring to the table in exchange for that. Um, oh,
No.
I'm sorry. Was that not
So,
what you said?
mm-mm.
Oh,
So
please.
that's so my point was what I took from the video that I watched Kevin Samuels is like both people should be accountable. Like you want a certain thing. So what are you accounting for yourself to be attracted to that certain thing? Right? I don't like and people want to talk about Kevin Samuels because they just want to fight and they just want to find something to look at. I didn't like the way he said things about certain people, but the points that he was trying to make like made sense. Like you kind of have to be, you want to, if I say like I want to date a supermodel who makes millions of dollars and does all these things that whatever. Okay, if that's what I want, then it's the same
Right.
question. Like, then what am I doing to be
I
at
want
the
to
level
bring
that
it.
she'd be
I
attracted
want to
to?
focus it back to women. And so the question is, because you corrected me when I said that you said that there are things that she needed to bring to the table to get what it is that she wants. So most of the women who called into her show, or to his show, wanted to find out how to get a man who has six figures, etc. And so his commentary. So you said you've seen only one of his videos?
Maybe like one or two. It wasn't something that I
Okay. So in
followed
this,
or
so
watched
in this,
him like all
right.
the
So in
time.
the two videos that you saw, what were the things that you saw that he was saying that the women needed to be accountable for to be able to attract that type of man?
I really love some Kevin Samuels. So the specific video was there was he was asking a woman how old she was and then what she was looking for. And she said she wanted a man that made six figures. And then he asked her, well, what do you think that man is going to want? Right. And then the next question was, well, are you what that man would be looking for? And she said no. And so then his answer was, then why would this man be looking for you? Right. Why do you think that all of a sudden this man, if this is what you're looking for and he makes this much money and does these things or whatever, why would he be looking for you if that's not the things that he wants? And so that was, and I was like, that's an excellent question, right? Like that's so, and that's a question that anybody would have to ask themselves. Like
Right. So
if
yeah,
you are
so
looking for
my
something,
question to you is, what are some of those things that you think that a woman should bring to the table to be able to get that type of man, the man who's making six figures?
there's no monolith, right? And I think that's the problem where you get into that, right? I've made six figures since I was 25 years old, right? So, but I can't tell you that the things that would attract me are the same things that would attract my buddies that make the same amount or have made that same amount. So I, I don't think that there is no like general list.
Mm.
So it's who's that person specifically that you're trying to go and talk to. So I couldn't sit here and tell you that like, okay, well, you need to go do this and you'll get a man of six figures. I don't know. I don't know what that man wants.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting because I did feel as if a lot of the conversation that came out of Kevin Samuel's show was very monolithic. And even the example that you gave with, with the young lady who called in and he was asking her what her age and dress size is and all of that, and then answering for a person who wasn't there on the show. So we have you here on the show. You said that you've made six figures from the time that you were, in your 20s. So that's part of the reason that I was asking you to kind of get a sense for what is it that you heard and saw, because what it is that you said that you're looking for is very different than what it is that Kevin Samuel posited that men who are in your category are looking for. You understand what I'm saying?
I think that I think I understand what you're saying. Like, so are you asking me what did men find?
No, not men, you. In terms of you as a man who makes, six figures, or who will be again soon, right, making six figures. What is it that you heard from him that you felt was true for what it is that you are looking for?
Again, it goes back to the stuff that I saw was accountability. Like you have to like you're going to, you want to talk to somebody who's at the level. So if I take it to me, like at where I'm at and I'm traveling and I'm doing these things. So I'm talking to somebody else and it's like, hey, okay, well, I want to talk to you and be a partner to you. Okay, cool. Like, what are you bringing to this? This isn't but because this is going to be a relationship that both of us have to do something together. And I think where people get twisted is like when you say, what are you bringing to the table? People automatically go to money. Like, no, there's more things than money, like stability, emotional stability, like what are you bringing to the table? What all are you that's going to be attractive? Says this is a good partner that I want to look at and then taking this life to go together with. So to me, when I looked at it, I was like, yo, those are good questions. Like, what is this
Yeah.
person bringing? Like,
Right.
what are you?
I'm really interested in you. I'm interested in you and what it is that you would like for a woman to bring to the table in terms of this conversation, in terms of accountability and what she has to offer for you.
Right. I guess I'm struggling because I've answered that question. Like we've talked about that since the
Right.
beginning and going through all those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's
So
the
because when you say that Kevin Samuels asked great questions, right, in terms of what the women were bringing to the table, a lot of the things that he talked about were just surface things, how you look, how young you are. And then also, he did not expect for women to bring any money to the table. This is part of the reason that I'm asking you because you said when you saw his show that there were things that resonated with you. You said you saw two of his shows, and I haven't seen two of his shows. So I'm just curious, just asking you to kind of get a sense for what is it that you saw in the show that resonated with what it is that you feel that a woman would need to bring to the table for you, because the answers you gave earlier and in resonating with his message are two very different things.
okay? So to be very specific, so what I said was in that clip that I saw, the question that he said, that is a good question. I didn't say he asked good questions. I didn't watch enough of his content to know all the questions that he asked. I just know that people didn't like him, that he was controversial, that he causes all this stir and commotion because people said he would talk down to women. And I saw some of those. I was like, okay, makes sense. I get why people said that. The specific question that I brought up, I was like, that question was a good question. Like, in that moment, he's asking this woman, like, you're saying you want these things, then what are you bringing to the table to attract that? That was a good question. So if you want to, so then saying, okay, you're asking me, like, I've already said, like, what I'm looking for is a partner to go in and create a life together. I'm looking for accountability, communication, right? Financial stability. Like, do you understand and can manage finances, right? You don't have to, you can make more money than me, you can make less money than me. That's fine. But do you understand like how we're going to have to manage this together? That's what I'm looking for, right? The Kevin Samuels thing, like, cool, like whatever. Like people can have their opinions or whatever, but I just think that in anything that's controversial, there's always points. But again, I'm a debater. I look at both sides of it. I look at everything objectively. People just want to look at one part and go, okay, well, throw everything out. Okay, cool. Like you didn't like the way he said it or what he said. I
Who
understand
are
that.
the
But
who are the people who are the people that you're talking about that want to look at one part? I haven't seen a Kevin Samuel show, so I really don't know. I was just merely asking you because his shows are like 3 hours long. I haven't seen an
yeah,
entire
I don't
Kevin Samuel
I've only
show.
ever seen clips. I've never watched any of his shows either. I'm
Mhm.
just saying from the way conversations that I've had and with friends about it and like how sisters-in-law, like people, like they are, women take very offensive stuff that he says. From the clips that I've seen, I totally get why. Right? His tone and the way he says it, I'm like, probably not the best. Are
Mm.
there are
Mm.
there are there points like I found that one point about being accountable? I was like, yeah, that is a good point. I would have addressed it in a totally different manner the way he brought it up.
I
But
see.
that's the way he decided to bring it up.
And what was it that you gathered from the second clip that you saw? Because you said you saw two or three clips,
The
right?
second clip was just straight disrespectful. He was just trying to be, that was just content. Some woman called in and he just started talking about her, asked her to come on FaceTime. She came on, and you this and you that, and you need to do. I was like, okay, now you're just trolling for content. Like that's just what that is. Because he knows people react. People react to get people to like it and then engage and put in a red flag or this, that, or whatever. And then that drives up his content and he gets money off of it. So that's so when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's who he is. Like a lot of content creators that are out there. they create stuff to get engagement
Yeah.
because
So when did your last relationship end?
my last relationship ended in July of 22.
July of 2022. Why did it end?
Distrust in she hid a lot of financial things from me for a long time, and then they all kind of came to roost.
When you say she hid financial things from you, like she had a gambling addiction or
No,
something?
she incurred a lot of debt, wasn't managing her bills properly, kind of got behind, and then kind of expected me to fix all of it.
How long were you all together?
On and off for 5 years.
So you were on and off together for 5 years, and then she hid. So you broke up because she had hid a lot of financial things from you. So, um, what happened? What was the final straw?
Um, so I mean that's number one, it's a deal breaker for me, which she knew. We talked about, and we had known for a while. And so past that, once it happened, we kind of talked about it, and I was like, okay, well, this is an issue of trust at this point, right? Like I need to be able to count on you and know that like you're like being honest with me. Like, and so it just from there, trying to build back up on that trust just wasn't working. And then there were some other issues that kind of came up after that that I was just like, not adding the fact that we have this, and then I've got to kind of build back trust. I don't know if I can trust you with these things. At this point, we're talking about, you're talking about taking the next step and, moving in together, getting houses, getting married, all this good stuff or whatever. So I'm like, if that's not there for me, like, let's try and kind of build on these other areas where we can kind of build on this. But for me, like I told her, I was like, I told you that was a deal breaker, right? That's really hard for me to come back from because I don't know if I can trust you with that, with the things that I have that I'm very much a what's mine is yours type of person. So we're going to be together. Like everything I have is now yours. If you can't manage what you have, then I'm worried how you're going to help manage like what we have. So after that,
The final straw
um,
was what? What was the final
sorry,
straw that? What was the final straw that ended the relationship?
there were some undisclosed. I'm trying to be
If you don't feel
delicate. Like
comfortable answering, then you don't have to answer.
it's there were some undisclosed mental health issues that she had never said anything about that apparently was hidden by a lot of people in her family. And then that kind of took everything over the top. It got toxic after that. And there were some episodes and I was just kind of like, no, this is not the life I want.
Okay. Someone wants to know if you're still connected to her, still speak to her, still in
Nope.
communication, none of that. What did you learn from that relationship?
Um that to trust in things that I see. There were times when I look back on it, where I I knew I would ask a question, she would say something, and I would be like, it's not quite right. But I'm like, I'm not going to push. Right. Again, I'm going to say, look, I trust you. Like we've talked about it. Like if you got something to tell me, you're going to tell me. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a room to tell me when you want to tell me. But there was times when I was like, there's something out there. And I wanted to push and I didn't. And by push, be like, hey, like, no, I think we should really talk about it. Let's dig into this. But I wanted to be very respectful of her space. So you kind of tell me when you want to tell me. And I think looking back on that, it's like, okay, I gotta trust in the things that when I see something, it's probably there, and I should probably address it
Okay.
instead of kind of like, no, okay, I'll let this slide.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know you're really big on communication, so I um I definitely understand that. Was that one of the relationships that made you have this standard for communication?
No, I've always had that.
Oh, so why wasn't it implemented in the relationship then? What happened?
I I thought it was. Honestly, like
No,
it
because
just got to a point where
you said you wouldn't push, that you would just let it go, that you thought things were there, but you wouldn't really kind of, you know,
yeah, because I like everybody's not like her personality wasn't the type to. She was more of a like, hey, there's something I want to talk about. Let me go deal with it, and then we'll come back later and talk about it, right? I know I'm a person that's like, hey, there's a problem. Let's get into it. Let's figure out what this is. She wasn't that way, right?
Okay.
Those are personality clashes. So I didn't want to like, there's no point in me pushing on something that's not her personality. So I'm just like, okay, let me let her come back in time.
What is your love language that you got from the test earlier today? Because she has those results.
Mine is physical touch and acts of service.
Physical touch and acts of service. Okay. All right. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it, David. Thank you so much for getting on the love seat and putting yourself out here. What you have done is not an easy thing to, to put yourself out there publicly and to answer all of these deep personal questions. She would have asked you some more sexual questions that I just did not have the script for, but so you're off the hook with that one. The ladies will just have to kind of find that out behind the scenes. So if you're interested in David, come to TonyaTKO.com, click on the link is in the description, and you can submit for your background check. If you have any issues with the form or anything like that, let me know, and I will take care of that for you. So I appreciate you for coming out. Thank you so much, David. And Chi's information is inside of the description of each video as well. If you'd like to give a closing statement before you jump off, that'll be great. The floor is yours.
Not really anything. The chat is very interesting and crazy. I would say this. I think part of the issue is finding ways as a community that we can actually talk and embrace people's different perspectives. There's a lot of judgmental statements in the chat, but it's just kind of the world we live in. I think that's one thing we can do better on.
Okay. All right. So do better in terms of just being more open-minded and just hearing people out, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you have an example of something that you felt could have been heard out in a better way?
It's mostly I would say something like this, right? Like I'm used to being on stage and hearing comments. I think they're funny. But looking at, to your point that you kind of made earlier, somebody comes out here, they're being open. I'm thinking about it from a perspective, if somebody were to come on here and it's like, okay, I want to be eligible. And then like, they're seeing some of the things that are coming through on this chat. Like, that's crazy, right? Oh, he's this, he's a red flag because he likes this, whatever. He said this, that, whatever, this, that, whatever. You're this, you're that. I'm just like, you're being very judgmental for somebody who you don't know this person. And that's like, again, I find it disheartening. To me, it's fun. I could stay on for the next 2 hours and go back at it with every single comment, but not everybody would do that. And I think that's something that I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I could see people not really being open to doing that, because it is.
So you're saying you're not going to refer someone because of the comments?
I will refer somebody, but I'm gonna make sure it was like, yo, let's see like who you are. I would put like this. Some of the more sensitive people that I know, I would not send them on this.
You all are chasing the men
some
away.
Of the chats throw them up.
Oh my. Okay. So you think I should take the chat off the screen so that people can't see it?
I think it depends on the person. But probably like if you kind of know the person, you can kind of go with it. I love it. It's fun to me. So, but I don't know if it would be fun for everybody.
I got you.
Like, I enjoyed the conversation with Stefan. I hope I said it right. If you're still watching, I thought that was interesting. I gained a new perspective. So, but I don't know if that would be.
What new perspective did you gain from a Stefan?
Well, just so like I said, like, I thought it was very interesting that he was like, well, because he was articulate and emotionally intelligent and all these other things that that sent off his gaydar. And I'm hearing that. So I was like, then what's the opposite of that? Like, are you trying to say that like, so to be straight, you can't be these things because that means you have to be gay? Like that's a very black or white issue, which would then ask me like, what's his perspective? What is he seeing that's driven him to go, this thing always equals this? I find that very interesting. I didn't realize that people perceived it that way. And then I think that the Georgia thing, right? Like, I don't live here. I mean, I live here now. I'm not from here, but I know the stereotypes about Georgia, and some of it's just facts and numbers, right? There's a lot of, there's a lot of gay men and gay women here in the Atlanta area. So I get that. Like you kind of add two and two together and you look at it as like, oh, it's probably this, which makes sense. But again, that was a perspective I'd never heard before. So it was very interesting.
I see. I see. Do you feel that you're in touch with your feminine side? What does that mean to you?
I honestly don't know what that means. Like be in touch with your feminine side. I'm in touch with my emotions. But so if you consider that being feminine, then sure. But I don't necessarily consider that being feminine. I just consider that being mature. Like you know what your emotions are and where you need to be. So I don't really have an answers for like, oh, this person's in touch with his feminine side. I never really understood what that meant.
Okay. Okay. Well, there are many different ways to kind of search that up because there are the feminine and masculine exist everywhere in nature. Even batteries have the feminine and masculine, the positive and the negative parts of the, I forget what they're called, diodes, not, I forget what it's called, but so there's feminine and masculine all throughout nature, and everything has the feminine and masculine. So that's definitely something that that we can all look into. What are feminine characteristics? What does it mean when a person says that a person is in touch with their feminine? What does it mean when it says that a person is in touch with their masculine? So these are great questions that we can all look into. David, thank you so much for coming out and being a part of the conversation. I will debrief with you afterwards. So thank you so much. You have a great rest of your evening. I'm going to finish up with the chat and then I will contact you to debrief. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I appreciate you all for coming out and being a part of this show. We get better from your feedback, and so my goal is to be able to bring eligible marriage-minded bachelors here, single men who are open enough to be able to have these difficult conversations in public, and and have the person touch a part of you on the inside that you say, you know what, I feel that me and this person would be a good match. And then submit for your background check. And then we will be having our virtual speed dating parties behind the scenes. So if you see three men up here that you're interested in, you can come to the virtual speed dating event and speak with them behind the scenes as long as you've done your background check. So I appreciate each and every one of you. What is the self-love lesson that you learned from today's video, right? What is the self-love lesson that you learned? I am going to let you all know the self-love lesson that I learned from today's video. And one of the self-love lessons that I learned is about co-hosting a show with a person and making sure that I'm prepared to be able to do their job in case they fall ill or sick or traveled or unavailable, or if there's a blackout in their area or a flood or a storm or whatever the case may be, or they're in the hospital having a baby or whatever the case may be, that I am able to carry it on, in their absence. So I learned that that is definitely something that I need to do. I also learned about the self-love lesson that I learned from today's show is really to forgive myself for the lack of preparation, to take. So one of the I'm going to be really honest with you, a self-love lesson that I learned from today's show is really about, how they say leap and your wings will appear. One of the self-love lessons that I learned is about how you can do as much preparation as you want, but there comes a time where you're going to have to act, and everything is not going to always be perfect. And how do you continue to be like, well, you know what, it wasn't perfect, but I'm putting one foot in front of the other. I'm continuing to move forward. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm perfecting this, because I remember when I first got started using all of this big gigantic software behind the scenes, I remember how difficult it was to produce the live show. And I just continued to we upgraded the back. If you look at the old videos from a year ago, we upgraded the background with the lights and the books and the this and the that when we first got started. And I had to build out my whole set here, because remember I was in Los Angeles in the trailer. And then, so, little by little. So I hope that this can I hope that this can serve as motivation for you all to continue to move forward, to forgive yourself for not having it all right and perfect, but continue to put one foot in front of the other. I tried very hard because I know, because you all know that I do reaction videos, and part of the reason that I do reaction videos is because my thought process just shows across my face. But I tried very hard to keep a neutral face in today's broadcast, and I also realized one of the things that I realized from today's show is that I am confrontational. Mhm. I realized I'm confrontational, and that I had to check myself in today's broadcast, where I'm like, well, this is a person who I want to find love. This person is not the enemy. I had to, because there were certain points where I was like, I could feel my fangs ready to jump down and just really just go for the jugular, right? When we were talking about the kitten heels conversation, but I realized that I need to do some inner work on myself. I need to do some inner work on myself to because the goal is not to find out that a person is a bad match. The goal is to find out about a person to see for whom they are a good match. And so I had to really, really, really look within myself to figure out how I've been doing things over the past few years, because I feel like I have gotten into a very narrow area in which I really am very aggressive and combative, and some other things, right? Somebody is saying that they see the growth. No, what you see is choice. What you see is choice. What you see is me making a choice and figuring out what the goal is and making a choice that aligns with the goal, right? Making a choice that aligns with the goal. So that is what you see. Me thinking about the goal of why it is that we're here, and then aligning with that. So what I would like for you all to do is I would like for you all to give me your self-love lesson. Give me your self-love lessons. Let me see what your self-love lesson is from today's Sun says, yes, you're combative, Tonya. Yes, I am. I am. You see, the thing about it is that these are parts of my personality. And I'm the type of person that you want to go to the doctor with. I'm the person you want to take when you need to get some business handled. I'm the person that you want to take who's not afraid to stand in the face of some very strong wind pushing against you. I'm the person you want to take to do that with. And I understand because I have people who call me up to accompany them some places and to do certain things, because they know that the people who are very compliant are not the ones who are going to be able to do the things that they need to get done. And I'm one of those people that I get the job done. If you want to build a house and you need somebody to stand there with these construction workers, I'm the person you call. You don't call somebody who's compliant, because your house will never get built. And listen, you could play good cop if you want to. I'll be bad cop, and that's okay. And that's okay. So yes. I'm that person. I'm the person that you want in certain types of interviews, but I realize that she is the type of person who is better for doing matchmaking consultation. She's much better at that, because I'm going to chop everybody down. Ain't nobody going to make it through my fine tooth comb. This is why why I'm coming up with the game with the game of the book, with the game of questions for you all. So, because I want you all to be able to ask the qualifying questions that you need to ask to find out for you who's the right match for you. SLL, ego can make or break you. Aura is everything. I need to get these comments up on the screen so that we can see these. Let's see. Either way you split it, I love it. All right, sure. All right. So, Tam Tam is married to a non-black man. I asked her to, ask her husband who he has and knows. So let's see who we have coming down the pipeline. But this is not this. We're just getting started, so we need the momentum. This is not a let me sit down on my buns and have a bunch of people paraded out in front of me. I need all of you. I need all of you to look inside your phone book and submit people. Text notification squad, I need you all to sit down, flip through who it is that who knows somebody, who do you know that's married, that has friends that are single, right? I need that. I need you all to bring people forward, right? I need you all to bring people forward because this is not the opportunity for you to just sit back and just wait while you pick your teeth, seeing who it is you like and don't like. You know what I'm saying? This is an opportunity for you to become involved. And when you have one of your friends up here, you'll see what it's like to have people making the comments that you all are making about the people who are up here. It's very difficult to do this. And so Angela is saying, yes, do a white man next episode, Tonya. Submit the white man, Angela. That you sitting there waiting to be serviced, but do some work. Do some work. TonyaTKO.com. Click on contact. The link is in the description. So I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the self-love lessons. If you're in this video after all is said and done, write your self-love lessons in the description. And so I'm not in the description, in the comments area. So I will see you all in the next video. Let us go ahead and get out of here. Go out there and love one another. Most importantly, love yourself. And I say for this show, part of loving yourself is having an open heart and open mind and really releasing judgment and realizing that it's okay for a person to want 50-50. It's okay if a person likes kitten heels. It's okay. There's somebody for that person. It may not be you, but there's somebody for that person. Key sent $5 and says, for asking the right questions. I appreciate that. Angeline says $2 and says, for a great show. I appreciate that. So listen, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jazz Lover. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Woo! This was, woo! I thank God for growth. Thank you. All right, I'll see you all in the next video. Oh, man.